Okay. Well, welcome everyone to the career panel for the internship program. This is the biomedical engineering career panel at Medtronic. And so I'm excited for you to get to learn more about what the engineers and our intern from this last summer are doing in this area at Medtronic. This partnership where Medtronic has partnered with SHPE to provide opportunities for full-time paid internship positions for summer of 2023 that really incorporate a holistic support. So it's you get a lot of support from Medtronic, you get a lot of support from SHPE. There's some crossover programming, some different things. And so we're just excited to do year 2 of this partnership with Medtronic and potentially for some of you to be part of that cohort this summer. My name is Susan Arnold Christian, and I'm a project manager for the research and innovation team at SHPE, and I'm going to be your moderator today. But before we get started, we just kind of wanted to go over a couple of housekeeping items. I am going to be sharing the recording of this with you, so you can go back and look it over and take your notes and look for information. We are going to start the panel today with some prepared questions, but there will be plenty of time for you all to ask questions that you want as well. At the end, we'll have a Q&A time where you can just unmute your mic, share your screen, and talk directly to the panelists. But you can also at any time post your questions in the chat, and we'll make sure that those get answered as well. On the screen here, I'll also share the slides with you. Those links go to their LinkedIn profiles, so you can connect with them and ask them any questions that you would like to as well. So for the first question, what I'd like each panelist to do is just to, and we're going to kind of start there in order on the screen so you guys know what order you're going in. If you'll just briefly introduce yourself, your name, what your major was, what your major is, your current title at Medtronic, and just kind of an overview of your professional path, kind of what you want to share with them about how you got into your current role or got to experience your internship. So Rosa, let's get started with you.
Hi, sure. So morning, everyone. So my name is Rosa Ariza, and I'm currently a manufacturing engineer. So I am based here in our Boulder site in Colorado. I'm coming up on almost 2 years. And then kind of my background and history. So I graduated in 2019 from my undergrad from the George Washington University with my Bachelor of Science in Biomedical Engineering. And then right after that, I went to graduate school. So I went to Duke University in Durham, North Carolina for my Master of Science in Biomedical Engineering. And then that summer that I had between grad school was the year I had the internship at Medtronic. So after that, I got a full-time offer to start January 2021 and been here since. So I've been pretty involved with SHPE around probably coming up on 6 years of my life. I've been to about 4 conferences. So yeah, I'm excited to be speaking to you here today.
Thanks so much. Nicolas, how about you?
Hello, everybody. Yeah, so my name is Nicolas Valencia Diaz. I am a reliability engineer, specifically a post-market reliability engineer in Medtronic. So I graduated in 2021 from Florida International University. I majored in biomedical engineering, and I did my internship the summer previously from graduating. So I did my internship with the same group that I'm working on right now. And I've been in Minneapolis since February. So pretty happy to be in Medtronic and to be able to work within SHPE and Medtronic as well.
Awesome. And then Nayeli.
Yeah, hi, I'm Nayeli. I'm actually a senior still. I'm a student. I'm studying biomedical engineering at the University of Southern California. This past summer, I worked in the cardiac surgery division of Medtronic in Minneapolis area, Twin Cities, and I was a manufacturing engineering intern. I guess some fun stuff I'm in at school right now. I am in SHPE, so I'm involved like some form of like, planning events, executing events, like getting applications in for funding for the conference that's coming up in North Carolina. So if anybody's excited about that, I highly recommend the conferences. I think they're really fun. And I'm also involved with the Associated Students of Biomedical Engineering on campus, ASBB for short. I'm part of Project in a Box, where we go out and like to K through 12 schools and come up with like fun little engineering lessons to get people excited about engineering, like, kind of advocate for STEM. And another one is just like Med Design, which is a medical device innovation like group on campus where you come up with your own projects, kind of learn how to plan it from start to finish. You come up with your own end goal, and it's been a lot of fun. But I enjoyed my time at Medtronic as an intern, and I got a full-time return offer to return to my same team. So I'm very happy. It was a very positive experience as a SHPE intern. It's like first cohort.
Thanks so much. Now to kick it back, we'll start with Rosa again. And I want you to think specifically about kind of just your day-to-day schedule, since we don't get to shadow you right now, but like, tell us about what your typical day would look like. And really let's narrow in and let's think about like, what was last Thursday like for you, or last Wednesday, whatever day of the week that you want to pick. And how did that break down? Like, how much time did you spend in meetings? How much time did you spend in a lab or, doing hands-on type of work? And kind of just give us an insight into what your typical day looks like.
Sure. So I'll start first. Basically, as a manufacturing engineer, your prime responsibility is to support the production of your line. So right now I have 3 lines, and basically I'm overseeing that, we don't have any maybe quality issues, kind of our equipment, if we need to do some sort of validation, verification, that's on me. And really my week to week, day to day sometimes varies. I can say that you come right now at a time where I am doing constant, as we like to call it, firefighting. There are just issues that pop up everywhere in terms of the quality of this unit is in question, so we have to do some investigation, or maybe a supplier can't get us their parts, and so we kind of have to figure out what to do with that. And that all in all basically just piles up. And so at this point, there's about 5 different issues going on. So it's really juggling a lot and learning how to prioritize and making a lot of decisions quickly. So I'll say that that's mostly my day. A lot of these weeks is just being on the production floor, working with the other engineers and figuring out solutions. If I ever do have some downtime when I don't maybe have as much line issues, I do work on continuous improvement projects. And I do also, go to, of course, meetings. For example, every morning, 7:30, I start off with some meetings with the production floor. So my first hour or 2 is just always on the floor. And then kind of the rest from there, it's a combination of, well, let's see what this day holds for me. You can plan, I think, to a certain point in this job of what to do, but sometimes you can't really. I'm sure Nayeli had that experience too when she was an intern.
Awesome. Nicolas, how about you? What does your typical day look like?
Yeah, so the role of the reliability engineer is not as hands-on, like, for example, a manufacturing engineer. It's more on the analytics side, the data analytics, and assessing risks. So for example, a day could look like, for example, a meeting where we start evaluating different issues that come, for example, with different softwares that we work with. So I am in the cardiac rhythm management group. So we have to evaluate different issues that come up with different softwares that we manage. And then we, as a reliability engineer, we need to evaluate how high is the impact to the customer. or how high is the impact and the safety to the patient. And according to that, we can start thinking on what are the probable solutions or what are the probable different situations that we need to do to be able to understand the issue and move forward with it, or if we need to do something to do the to manage the risk. So that is one part of the day. Other part of the day can be working on issue impact assessments, which are reports in which we need to do investigations onto what is the issue, how did it happen, and how could it potentially impact in the future. And we need to look and investigate for complaints. And this is all mainly because I'm post-market, the meaning that I work with all the products that are already in the field. So a pre-market reliability engineer, what they do is they do all the testing to make sure there are as little risk and as little problems in the field. And the post-market reliability is for all those situations that weren't account for, situations that pop up. So as Rosa was saying, we are kind of also like firefighters and receiving issues and trying to manage the issues that come up. And there's also something that I really like in Medtronic is the work with ERGs, which are employee resource groups. And I am in the Hispanic Latino group and the SHPE group as well. And part of the day as well is working with these groups and organizing events, organizing outreach, our community events with university, with schools, meeting with people to make sure that we can get that community outreach and get to teach some STEM to children or some career development opportunities for different college students as well. So that is how my day-to-day looks like every day.
Well, both days sound very packed and very busy. Lots of different things you're juggling, lots of hats. Nayeli, how did that feel to you? What did that look like for you as an intern on a typical day?
On a typical day, kind of similar to what Rosa was saying, in the mornings, we do have what we call tier meetings. As an intern, I would attend tier 1 meetings, and tier 1 meetings are going to the production floor and talking with the operators and other engineers about like the progress that happened the previous day. Like there's, at least for my team, I'm pretty sure it's the same everywhere, but there's kind of like a daily quota, like, oh, was the goal met on how many products were made? And we they say yes or no. And then if for whatever reason, maybe they weren't, we kind of just talked about what could have happened, like what kind of stopped that. Anyway, that was tier 1 meetings. And right after that are tier 2 meetings, where it's the entire line of productions kind of give updates of like the daily quotas and like just different things that happen. So that was my mornings. And so very meeting heavy, but it was a good start to my day. I just get into the office and it's like, because it happened very early, like 8 in the morning. So it's a pretty fun day. And after that, it really depends on the day. So some days I decided to like focus very heavy on my project, which was, I guess, kind of like an improvement / characterization project, where just one of the senior manufacturing engineers kind of guided me through it and taught me some problem solving techniques that I could use throughout the project. And some other things I could work on were what Medtronic has, like some skill badges, kind of going into my computer and like working on my own like kind of professional development. And then there's also like SHPE, they gave some fun classes to take as well. Not classes. Oh yeah, classes. Because like there's some certificates you can get and they kind of help you. And it was pretty fun because walking through the different certificates that I could get helped me in my project, because I was like, oh wait, I can apply this. Like, oh wait, this is that. So it was pretty fun. But other than like projects and like getting some like skills badges on the computer, I would walk around my site and talk to people. Like I would kind of just ask them like, hey, what are you up to? Like, oh, what's your project? Or most of the time I needed help for my project. So like I had to like ask, oh, how do you use this machine? Oh, hey, wait, I need this. Do you know who I can talk to? So it was a lot of me walking around trying to get progress on my project. But once I got a routine, like how to do my day-to-day, it was not so much of like, oh, I'm so confused, I don't know what to do. But part of like learning what to do is kind of just asking questions. So I feel like my internship was a lot of learning, But very fun because I think everybody's super helpful. They're like, they know you're an intern. Like, they're like, number one is like, oh, I want to help you. What can I do? What can I do? And it's a pretty fun, like, I don't want to say vibe, but it's like everybody's super happy to like jump in the rope and they just help you out.
That's great. It's great to hear that as an intern, your experience was really similar to those that were full-time employees too. So that's a great experience. So now as we kind of just delve more into some questions here, I just kind of want to remind everybody, if you have questions, to post those in the chat. I want to take our panelists back to just your career navigation. Like, how did you choose to do biomedical engineering? How did you choose your major, your career path? So I don't know which one of you would like to just kind of speak to that. We don't necessarily have to go in order between Nicolas, Nayeli, and Rosa, but which one of you would like to just kind of speak to how did you make that choice?
I can start with that. So I think it was a very personal motivation for me because I was, my brother has cerebral palsy. So I have seen every time all the medical technology, how it had helped him to improve his lifestyle and his quality of life, right? So I wanted to have some kind of impact, but I didn't want to be a doctor either. So because I'm very afraid of blood. Therefore, and I was always really interested on working in that health side, but also having all this analytics and being able to analyze different situations where I can help to improve for a solution. So biomedical engineering allowed for that, and also it had like that physiology part that I was interested in, all that biology part as well. And also because I felt it was giving me some meaning, right? There was something more towards it. And also with BME, and I've seen it within Medtronic, there's a vast array of career opportunities that you can take. Many people say, oh, but you're not the expert on anything with BME. Well, I think that's an advantage because you can go through manufacturing, for example, through data analytics or quality, or even be a clinical specialist in Medtronic, which works at the hospitals, helping with implants. So there are like tons and tons of opportunities that a biomedical engineer can do. So, and it's such an open door. So that's why I chose BME.
Awesome. I could concur with you about the blood part. Rosa, would you like to speak to that too?
Sure. Yeah. So I think for me, it was beginning of deciding right engineering was I really like to know how things work. And right at the basic of it, I think that is what engineering is we learn how things work, how to make things work, reverse engineer things. And so I think that was the part that I found most fascinating was there was a creative aspect to engineering as well, I think, that it's not just memorization. And then for the biomedical part where I'm also really interested in like the anatomy, physiology, and how things work in the human body, where I was like, well, this is a great combination of them both. And so, kind of as I went through my career and deciding on where to focus on, because as Nicolas said, you could do so much with BME. It is, you could really go any direction. And for me, it really started with, I got a lot of electrical engineering experience at first. And then when I decided to go to graduate school, I decided I needed more of a maybe mechanical background, medical device background. And so at that point, I knew I wanted to go into the medical device industry. And then basically from there, it was just kind of how opportunities came up, what I, kind of my likes and dislikes of my experiences that I've had, which if I were to kind of pitch in here, one piece of advice would be to be constantly reflecting on where you're at in your career, in your internship wherever and really reflect on what you like and what you don't like, because what you don't like is also very important. I had some experiences where I realized what I didn't like, and then, it kind of led me closer to here. So
I feel like I have
great advice. Go, Nayeli.
I was like, I have like similar takes on it, but I mean, like, I think biomedical engineering, maybe that question is more like, oh, why didn't I switch out? Because like, I don't know, you have that question like, oh, I want to change my major, I want to change my major. But at the end of the day, I'm like, wait, no, I really like BME. I really like my classes. And I don't know, back to high school, right? I just started like, I really like calculus and I like bio. But then with BME, it was kind of that support I had with my friends. Like, I started with some people in my classes. They also like took a lot of biomedical engineering classes. But I don't know, I think I knew at the end of the day, I wanted to end up in the health field. And there was just something about biomedical engineering that would keep me taking classes that were related to the body, like the physics, like chemistry, everything behind it. Like, yes, I still had to take biology, chemistry, physics, like so many hard classes that my other friends and other majors were not taking. But I was like, I kind of like it. Like, it's kind of hard. And you know what? I'm like staying up really late, trying to finish the assignment, sitting for a test. But for me, the classes just kept me interested. Even though they were hard, they still kept me interested. And it was something that I could still apply like later on in my career. Like, I don't know. Yeah, there's so many different career paths that biomedical engineers take. For some reason, like, I didn't know that. Like, I didn't know that until just now. I'm graduating soon and there are a lot of titles. I'm like, I qualify for this. So that's pretty nice perk.
Lots of broad experiences for sure. Let me jump to, let's talk about careers at Medtronic a little bit. And what was it that led you to choose Medtronic? Rosa or Nicolas, you want to start off?
Yeah, I can start off. Well, I can say that for me, as a biomedical engineer, Medtronic was one of course, the top companies, and it has a very good brand reputation. And so, going to those chef conferences, I was able to speak to more people there and kind of network. And as soon as I got to know more people, I knew that, I really wanted to work at Medtronic. And so in my, 3-4 conferences that I went to, I applied to Medtronic every year, I can tell you. And I didn't get it until the last time that I applied. So I'll also say that keep trying until you get it, because, may not get it the first time or the second time, but maybe the third or fourth time. So, and then that's also kind of the thing is Medtronic really recognizes your worth and your achievements, and the people also treat you that way. And it is very different when you talk to, other companies. You can definitely tell the difference.
I think that for me to choose Medtronic was first of all, when I reviewed like the tenets of Medtronic and like what guides the mission of Medtronic, it's just so amazing that a company has it. But when I went in for the internship, what surprised me the most is how people would really follow those tenets, will be constantly reminded of them. And I'm in a specific area where we deal a lot with patient safety or customer impact, right? And seeing that everybody's in the same page, that the patient comes first all the time, I felt that it will be a company that I will feel comfortable. Well, I will feel that I'm doing what I studied for. So that's what led me a lot to Medtronic. And also something that I found very amazing was, and I was worried the last year of of engineering school, because I saw that all my classmates were very hands-on people, and they like to build, they like to do stuff or stuff. I wasn't really that type of person, but recruiters at Medtronic are very great at their job, and they put me at a position where it wasn't that much of hands-on, it was more analysis. And I didn't know that was an engineering type of thing, but there's a lot of analysis in writing and engineering, and I enjoy it very much. So that also that type of detail that Medtronic has towards their people, I think it's just amazing. And having and being happy within the company, and that internship also led me to stay. I think I need to stay here for a while.
Like kind of like similar answers to Nicolas and Rosa. I don't know, for Medtronic, yes, as a BME, it's like one of those like top companies, like at least if you're interested in the medical devices in general. But I know on campus, I'm sure it's similar, hopefully at other campuses too, where companies come and like host these talks, or if they don't, like Zoom invites are sent through email, kind of like a general like, oh, learn about this company. And so, hop on different ones, and Medtronic just happened to stand out. I think there was one where they talked about the holiday programs that they do every year, where they recognize like an actual patient that uses their products and kind of tell their story. So I just thought that, I don't know, it's like something about Medtronic, like that kind of just shows that they do care for their patients, and obviously, they care for their employees. They care. It's like this really big event. I haven't, had the chance to experience it in person, but I know it's something that they do invite their employees to. It's like this big gala, and it's something that like reminds you of like why you're still here and like why you're giving back to essentially, this Medtronic community, like your patients. And so something about that, I was like, wait, I don't know, it's not just a job. Like at the end of the day, like, oh wait, this isn't just a company. Like that stuck with me. Like, it was nice that they shared that with their prospective like applicants and employees. I was like, oh wait, this is something that's really cool. Because there are a lot of other companies too that, Medtronic has competitors, but they for some reason just kind of keep staying up here. And yeah, I don't know.
That's awesome. You all have all alluded to this, and Nayeli's taking us right into the next question. Tell me a little bit about the culture and how you feel about the culture at Medtronic in terms of expectations and standards. What does that feel like for you as an employee?
You could go.
Okay. I think what I really find interesting about the culture is how you can be like yourself in many ways. I was very afraid when I started because, of course, my family, none of them have been in corporate before, and it was my first time being able, like, going to a company in Minneapolis, where I used to live in Florida. So it was like very a drastic change, but the team like was very supported. Everybody made sure I was prepared for the winter when I came here months before I moved here, which was very surprising for me. But also everybody's as the willingness of everybody to help is just incredible, because being able to ask whatever I want without feeling judged is fantastic, and it's key for my learning. So I feel I've been able to grow professionally because of that, because there's a great support system. I'm not afraid of making mistakes, and if I do, I can learn from them, and that is something that I find very healthy and very good for someone that is starting their career. So that's what I feel about the culture. And also, again, everybody's patient focused. So having that and everybody's top of the mind really makes work more pleasant.
Adding on to the part where like everybody's so willing to help, I feel like that was like the biggest thing of my internship. I think I mentioned this like earlier, like just the culture, at least like at the site, it's like, oh wait, what are you working on? Like genuinely curious, and like what my project is, and if there's any way they can help. And if I ask, they will either help me or direct me in the right direction. Like, oh, I'm actually not the expert in that, but you could like go to so-and-so or go to this department. So I think everyone is very much willing to help. And during the summer, we had this Project 6 thing going on with the 6th tenet of Medtronic, which is like, correct me if I'm wrong. It was like essentially like giving back to the community, like volunteering. So Project 6 throughout the summer, or at least that month, in June, July, there's a big push on like volunteering and like giving back, like volunteering with your team. So on site, we had different like stations where the operators themselves, they'd like, take time to like, and they're like excited about it too. They take time to like stop production for like that 30 minutes to an hour and like build backpacks or like put supplies and stuff, like just build some, like volunteer for something. So I think people are just excited about it and it's fun. And I like that because I mean, even at school, I volunteer. Like it's something that I do on my own time. Like at Medtronic, people like doing that too. And it's part of the tenet. So it's a very inclusive, very welcoming culture that I got to experience. So it's been fun.
Yeah, and then me just kind of, summarize and add on what Nicolas and Nayeli had already said. But yeah, I mean, it's a great community in terms of you have so many resources and everyone is willing to help you. And I think that's definitely one of the biggest advantages starting here, right? I mean, I remember same thing. I started here, and when I moved to Boulder, Colorado, I didn't know anyone. And I'm also originally from Texas, so I've never seen so much snow. And that people definitely were very welcoming. As for, standards and expectations, I'll say they are very high. So high standards, high expectations. And that is for everyone who is working here. So that is everyone who is working from our floor to our engineers, to our managers. Everyone has high standards for each other and expectations, but that is right because, our work directly affects patients and their safety. And then kind of the last thing I'll add is really, Medtronic is really good about supporting your involvement within employee resource groups. So Nicolas said earlier how we had ERGs. And so I'm also involved in the Hispanic Latino one. And so, Medtronic is very supportive of, making us be involved, and manager also, she's very supportive of that. So, overall supportive environment.
Awesome. Tell me about some of the most challenging and rewarding aspects of your career at Medtronic. And I'm going to tack on, that was one of our planned questions, and somebody in the audience actually asked that kind of same question, and they put a phrase on it. Do you have a personal experience, like a personal story that you can share with that, something about a challenging and rewarding aspect of your position? Who wants to tackle that one first?
I can go first. I think for me, definitely the challenging part is the kind of what I said before, the constant firefighting. And in this environment, I was forced to learn very quickly and know what and who my resources are and how to adapt very quickly. And so I think that basically the high-paced environment is what makes it challenging, just because everything is high-paced. And I will say it is what I wanted, because that is what pushes me as a person. That's how I function better, is being pushed. But at the same time, there is sometimes a lot of pressure from, from management, from your team members to make a decision, to accomplish a task on time, and to also do it right? So it's balancing, right? We always like to say we focus on safety, quality, delivery, and cost. And so, right, we're focused on safety first and foremost, quality, quality of our products, delivery, getting our products out there on time to our patients who need it, and then cost. So it's kind of really balancing all those aspects of it, as I would say, is probably the biggest learning curve.
Oh, talking about learning curves, I think, okay, question, I think it addresses it. One of them, like when I first got to like my internship, like my site, we had these trainings using this platform I don't know what I can and can't say, but I mean, it's pretty common. Something called, the platform was called Cornerstone. Basically, a lot of trainings. But what I needed for my project was learning how to navigate some systems that Medtronic uses to access some documents. And at first I was like, oh, there's so many different things here. Like, how am I supposed to, well, how do I even read this document? Like, how do I just had no idea how to use the different systems that Medtronic has, because there are different areas where like, oh, you can use this to find this document. But like, oh wait, actually that's a pretty old document, so you have to use this one. Like, oh wait, no, it's actually over here. It's like there's different things on learning how to use things. But when I figured it out, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm a pro. Like, wait, this document has like this number. Like, wait, I can go to this platform and go here, look things up, like do my own research for my project. So it was an interesting experience, like figure out just the different like softwares that Medtronic uses, because at first I was like, it's a little complicated, I can't do it. But no, I just gotta like play around with it, and it was fun. But then in terms of like feeling like I was actually making an impact as an intern, I thought they did a really good job, or at least they made me feel like, you know, they did a really good job in choosing my project. Like, it was a project that where I got to kind of experiment on ways to improve one of our products. Because like products, you know, there was some feedback on it from actual patients and actual users of it. And like, oh, like kind of doing like root cause analysis of like what happened here. And I just felt like I was actually, I don't know, improving the quality of this product, right? But like alleviating pain to some extent, because this is what is affecting the patients and the users. And I just felt like they're really good, really nice job in choosing my project and feeling like I was actually making an impact. And it's like not just an intern project. Like, I got experience, but also like, hey, this is actually helping the team. This is helping Medtronic in general.
Those are great examples. Sounds like some challenges that ended up turning into rewards. So, Nicolas, how about you?
I think the most challenging part for me is communicating, either talking or emailing in the corporate world is just so different. And especially because, for example, I wouldn't be concise, or I wouldn't be very direct in different situations where communicating with leadership, with managers, and knowing how to communicate, when to communicate, and just that overall, I think it was very challenging for me, especially with English as a second language. Like, if I barely can be concise in Spanish, how in English I can be even less concise. But that part of learning how to present, what information it's needed for people to understand in a situation, that has been very rewarding, because you don't only apply it for your job, you also apply it for many aspects in your life, and communicating, and just with communicating with other people. I think it's been very, very, very rewarding, and that experience is something that you don't learn in college, or you don't have a book that teaches you. That I feel that's something that comes with experience. So just those soft skills, I think, is also something really important, that is supporting the professional development and also helping for the future. So I'll say that will be the most challenging part of the job.
Yet another challenge turned into a reward. Great example. Well, we have a lot of other questions planned, but I'm recognizing the time here. And I also want to provide time for you all to ask any questions to the panel that you have. If there's one that I missed on there, feel free. If you want to type something in the chat or unmute yourself and ask a question directly. Okay, well, while you're thinking, if I don't see any in there, I'll ask some more questions. Can you talk about what do you enjoy most when you think about and you brag about your job? What is the piece that you enjoy the most at Medtronic?
I think what I bragged most about are mainly two parts. The first one is uh, how I can see how an impact on very fast on decisions that we make, and how how we have a really good team to support it. And I'm not stressed about it because I know there is someone that is helping me, and also because since this is all within the quality group, I love to brag that we kind of pause and think on if this is safe, are we sure on what we're doing, and making sure we take the correct steps before taking a decision, because many times in school we think that it's only research and development. You research, you make it, you produce it, but there are so many steps to make sure it's not a very big problem. So and so I really like to highlight that part of the job, because quality has a very important role, especially in medical devices. And the second part I like to brag a lot is the work-life balance that I can allow myself within the role as well. Uh, I love my job, but I also know that job is for 8 hours, and all the leadership, that's the expectation from my managers as well. And also I don't have like my emails or the messages in my phone. Is just in the computer, and once I disconnect, I truly disconnect. So I feel like having management that supports that as well and even encourages that, it's fantastic. So I brag of that a lot when I'm talking about it.
The most is probably first and foremost is that I'm able to find aspects in my job. I think this job really is. It is right, kind of, and that's the team right here every day with my team members. And so I'm glad that we're, all able to.
I think we might be having some sound issues, Rose. I don't know if it's happening for everybody else or if it's just me, but you're cutting in and out. So I don't know if there's anything you can do. We can hear some of it.
I'll let Nayeli go first, and then I'll figure it out.
Okay.
Yeah, audio was also cutting out. It was like, I don't know if you're like blocking the microphone or something, but what I enjoyed most about Medtronic, so when I describe what I did this summer to like my friends, it's like not everybody's in engineering, not everybody's kind of like, I was like, oh yeah, I was in manufacturing, blah, 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 I was doing this and that. They don't know what that means. I didn't even know what that meant when I was like accepted the position. Like I had no idea what that meant other than like, oh yeah, they're problem solvers. I kind of describe it as like, oh yeah, I got to play around with medical devices, meaning like more in detail. Like I enjoyed that. Yes, to some extent, I did get to play around with things. Like as an engineer, I really like what got me into engineering was like getting to explore something, like learning how it works, like learning what it does. Like you can give me something and I'll be like, what does this do? Like, I want to know, like, what is this? And going into the cardiac surgery site, like, I didn't know too much about bypass surgeries. I didn't know too much about open heart surgeries. I didn't know the different instruments they used. So going into it, I like learned about the different devices that are produced at my site. So I just like that kind of the freedom to, I don't know, explore what things do and like why, as part of my project, like, okay, why is changing this aspect gonna affect the outcome? Like what inputs can I change that are gonna affect the outputs? And I was like very, very engineering in my head. I don't know why, but I enjoyed that technical aspect of my internship or experience at Medtronic. But I also enjoyed just my team in general. Like I don't know, everyone, I don't know if it's just part of the culture, but part of my internship or internships in general is kind of essentially like learning your likes and your dislikes. Like if you hated what you were doing, they wanted to learn that. Like your manager, they want to know that. Like if you don't like what you're doing, just let them, obviously, phrase it how you will. But if there's something else you'd like experience in, they kind of encourage you to express that. Like this is your experience, this is your time. So it's very like, I like that about Medtronic. Like they are not afraid of like, at least, in my experience, it's you could express yourself in your interests and your dislikes, but when you would express a different interest, someone was like, oh wait, I know someone who does that. Like, oh yeah, I know so and so. Like they are very like open to connecting you with people who are like even mildly like related to an interest. So you can talk to them and learn more about it. So I don't know. It's been good. It's been good.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. Rosa, we're going to try again.
Okay, should work better.
Sounds
Yes.
good.
Okay, awesome. So I guess I'll just really kind of add to what Nayeli was saying because I kind of heard the last piece in terms of opportunity. And that's definitely what I enjoy is there is opportunity to, find out what you like either within or outside your current role. Especially within too, I feel very supportive and I feel comfortable going to my manager in terms of, hey, I haven't had this experience. Like, what can we do to get me there? Or hey, like this is the next career step for me. Like, what do I need and what do I need to accomplish to get there? And so it is a very, very intentional conversation. And, people here, they want you to succeed, of course, and all your team members want to as well.
That's great to hear. If any of the participants have a question, feel free to raise your hand so we know you've got one. You can unmute yourself and again, or type one in the chat. But I'm going to take us to one more question while people are still thinking. What's the most important thing that you gained from your undergraduate degree? So thinking back a little bit, what's the most important thing you gained from your undergraduate degree that helps you now as a professional at Medtronic? Or Nayeli, what's the most important thing that helped you through your internship experience? But thinking back to that undergrad experience, what did you learn that really helps you?
From my internship, I think this is kind of touched on before, but just communication, the importance of communicating, because like obviously one of the most stressful parts of my internship was that final intern presentation that wasn't even at the last week of my internship. It was like the 9th week out of 11, and part of that presentation is learning how to talk about the project you're doing. And yes, you can highlight like, oh yeah, I learned this technical skill, like, oh, I learned how to do this and this. But another really important part of it is, can you communicate like why you are working on this project? Like what impact does this have to like maybe the operators, to the patients, to the users of this product? It's kind of, you want to highlight how you did it, but I feel like more importantly, it's like, okay, why are you working on this? What is this? Like how, a lot of it is why. So that is something I learned about my internship. And another thing is learning how to talk to people, because I don't know if it's a Medtronic thing, but I feel like one-on-ones are really common. Like just a one-on-one is kind of like an informational interview where you email someone and like, hey, I'm kind of interested in your role. Do you have like time for a quick like 15-20 minute chat? And like that was pretty common, like at least with the interns. Like I talked to so many people and they're just like conversations. So I feel like I got a lot of experience in talking to people who I'm genuinely interested in, or maybe I have no idea what you do and I'd really love to learn. So I think it was good experience learning how to communicate and just talk to people and ask them about their careers.
I guess I'll go next. So I think really 3 things that I took a lot from, my career in undergrad and grad, and definitely has to do more with soft skills, I would say, more than technical skills. And I would say really it's hard work, leadership, and resilience. Kind of is, most people on this call know, engineering is not easy. And we had to work hard every single day, from day one that I stepped into a classroom, till I graduated, there was hard work, through and through. And that, it really teaches you resilience, and it just tells you, to keep going. And that character is super important, especially, when you go forth to your career in the engineering role. And then with leadership as well, right? I had a lot of involvement with like STEP and other clubs and organizations that I was able to, to be a leader. And so that teaches you a lot. And so you definitely bring, I would say, those aspects here. And then it definitely even helps me now that I'm mentoring someone, and I have a mentee and mentees. And I had an intern this year. So that definitely helped me in terms of, what it takes to be a leader.
Great. Nicolas, how about you?
Yeah, so I think the experience I most highlight in my undergrad is the research experience, which I highly encourage everybody to try to get into, just because I think it's very important for you to know if you like it or not. So in my case, I didn't like it that much, but I learned a lot of data analytics. I learned a lot about how to approach a method, how to build a method to do something, or how to do a step-by-step to get to some result. So, and I think, and without knowing if it's correct or not. So I think that experience is very valuable, and it will complement a lot with your classes. And I definitely think that also helped me on getting into Medtronic, getting into an internship, and I think that is a very valuable experience. And also, I would say just the relationships with professors and with my own classmates. I think I built a strong network with my classmates and with my professors, and I know that there is a support system there for the future. So don't take that for granted. For sure, though, there are a lot of opportunities there, and I feel that college is a very great hub for those type of networking opportunities, and you won't get to see it again. So I encourage also that as well.
Great. Thank you all so much. I want to give one more opportunity for any of the participants here. If you have a question that you really wanted to get answered that we didn't touch on today, we're in the last few minutes. So I'm going to give you the opportunity to ask any question that you'd like to ask. Okay. Well, I will remind you that what we're going to do is I will send out a copy of these slides that again link back to their LinkedIn profiles. So if you have a question you want to reach out to them about, you can feel free to do that. And I just want to do another reminder of just some kind of next steps. This is our website, ship.org/internship. And on that site, you can watch the internship info session that we did last week. If you didn't get a chance to see that, that recording is on the site. And then also you can see the schedule for the other career panels coming up. Lots of different opportunities to hear from more people at Medtronic and more interns. And then just a reminder, the application link is on that site as well. And the deadline to apply is 8 a.m. Central Standard Time on September 21st. And if you have any questions in the meantime, that's the email address right there on the screen that you can email. And that'll come directly to myself and some SHPE team members who help with this. And we'd be happy to answer any questions that you all have. But I just want to take time to say thanks so much to Medtronic for organizing this and for our panelists' time. And we're excited for this opportunity and look forward to seeing your applications. So thank you, everyone. And Brittany has posted a message there in the chat. Brittany Prather is one of the recruiters at Medtronic who works specifically with us for this internship program, and she's posted her personal email there as well. So if you have questions, that you can reach out to Brittany as well. But I hope you all have an awesome day. And thanks so much for taking time today to explore more about the careers at Medtronic.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank
you so
you.
much.
Thank you.